Good old reliable quest mage. I'm going to be talking about the deck while also playing the deck. We're going to see if I can multicast or multitask today. I'm talking here. Sorry, that kind of thing just happens around here sometimes. Right off the bat against a warrior. Favorable matchup right off the bat, you gotta love it. Definitely we keep the quest. Ideally we would like to look for Incanter's Flow. I assume this is going to be some kind of a pirate warrior quest. So having a little bit of removal for the early pirates is good. We just don't want to take a whole lot of damage early. You don't absolutely have to find Incanter's Flow in this matchup, but it is always nice. I'm gonna keep the hand, I actually like it. Quest Mage, one of the oldest decks in the current format. I think it's been around for just about as long as the United in Stormwind release. It's an interesting card right off the bat. But because the deck is so old, it's fully refined. There's really no more improvements that can be made. Just looking at the list over here on the side. I choose to play the Wand Thief list. I think it's the better. This is Rush Warrior. Interesting. Raid Leader has to go down. We can Brain Freeze it. The question is, what's the best way to activate Brain Freeze?
What shall I do?
Just, we really want to use the coin is the question. We could go like coin, Wand Thief, Brain Freeze, and Primordial Studies. Let's get the weapon next turn.
There's only so much time. Whatever shall I do?
Save the coin. Take Thalnos for the cycle. But yeah, I like the Wand Thief version. There's also versions of the list that would cut Wand Thieves most likely for Apexis Blast. I just prefer the Wand Thief. Wand Thief can, potentially find you an out. It can also allow you to be able to play your own minion. Any deck that has a choice isn't going to be playing minions onto the board. So sometimes you have to play a minion and target it with your own frost spells just to be able to advance the quest. So that's the reason why I like Wand Thief. Plus, it's just like a cheap way to discover resources. I'm gonna hold the first flame because that's our only cheap removal in hand, and the 1/3. We don't necessarily want to kill this because as soon as we kill this, he gets the 1/1 tokens in hand, and then he's able to start buffing those. They could potentially come back as like 5/5s. So we're just gonna play it like this. Take the hot streak. So we'll be able to complete part 1 of the quest. Really, as we're playing the deck, we're just looking to quickly and efficiently complete the quest, be able to get the quest reward down, and then just start looking for lethal. Let's see, we definitely want to... And talking about efficiently completing the quest, I don't necessarily want to Arcane Intellect while I'm still on needing to play a fire spell here. So I'm going to play some kind of a fire spell first, and then Arcane Intellect so that I get the Arcane spell for part 2. There's the Incanter's Flow. We have a Brain Freeze now. We could actually complete part 2 right now if we wanted to. Specifically against this deck, just in case, we're going to want to play the quest reward on the same turn that we complete the quest, because this is the kind of deck that might potentially be running Mutinous. Still don't really want to kill his 1/1s. So I took too long here. I should have started my turn a little bit earlier. This is discover a spell, and I'm not going to get to make a choice because I roped out. Mirror Entity's not very good. It's been a little too much time trying to think through my turns. You can see the conditioning come out there. This is exactly why we didn't want to kill the 1/3, because he would have had 2 1/1 tokens that would have gotten buffed. We're perfectly fine with this. Fire, Frost, and Arcane. Definitely want to play the flow. No Frost spell in hand. See if we can find one. Additional Incanter's Flow seems nice. And we'll just take we'll take a lab partner because he's going to be nice and cheap. And we'll call that a turn. The only drawback to the Wand Thief version of the list is Refreshing Spring Water will rarely, second conditioning, will rarely hit a Wand Thief, in which case you don't get the mana refund. So you have to be careful with that. Still no Frost spell in hand. Definitely need to kill the 4/7, it's just so big. So we can fireball that. Use the 2 first flames to kill the 3/4. We're going to use second flame. He won't know that the other first flame is in hand. It doesn't really matter from his point of view. And maybe we can discover a Frost spell here. We did. So I'm going to hold on to this. First of all, it's going to get more value next turn. Second of all, we'll be able to play this and the quest reward in the same turn, just to play around Mutinous. This deck may not even run Mutinous, but if it does, we can potentially play around it. We can actually just fire sale here. It'll clear his board and make sure that we're not taking damage. We actually have not hit an ice barrier this game yet, so that's a little bit interesting. We're going to fire sale, we'll clear the board, and then we'll be able to coin out the non-grasp. He's had this card in his hand for a number of turns.
Myself. I demand answers.
So now we're just looking to close out the game. Still a lot of cards in our deck. Haven't hit a whole lot of card draw yet this game.
Those who set themselves against me.
Might even have to consider killing our own Thalanos to cycle. We're going to need a way to... we can actually kill that with Ping and the First Flames. See, that would be 4 mana to remove that. We could flow trade here. With so many cards in hand, I feel like we have to hang on to the fire sale is the issue. So he can potentially go wide, in which case we're going to need to clear the board. I suspect he's going to go wide with as many cards as he has. Hopefully there's not going to be anything more than 7 health. There shouldn't be. He's already used both conditioning, so he doesn't really... His main ways of being able to buff his hand are gone, so this should be totally fine. would love to see like a cram session here. Cram session, perfect draw. Refreshing spring water wouldn't be bad. Ignite isn't the greatest here. We're going to go ahead and play it, but not the ideal draw. So we can go ping, fire sale. Then we'll just play out the Thalnos to be able to cycle.
Whatever shall I do?
And a mirror entity. Actually, one off on mana for that. We're gonna get the mirror entity out here. Seems a little bit more important. We can always play Thalnos and ping for an additional draw. Still 15 cards in our deck. We've been moving really slowly this game just because we haven't hit the card draw. Also, no ice barriers this game against a deck that wins by punching us in the face.
I'm not too young to fight.
Second Recaro. Alright, there's a refreshing spring water. We play the Thalnos first. It's basically like a discount on the Thalnos. If we play this first, you max out at 10 mana, so we go to 7, then we go back to 10, so make sure we do it in the right order. Arcane Intellect. We're going to freeze 3 minions so we can lock down his board here. Things are starting to look good. I mean, we could fireball his face here. I think I actually want to save it just in case. The 2 mana next turn isn't going to break us. But depending on what our draws are, we may actually have to use this for some kind of removal. More fire sales in the deck. Ice Barrier is a good pickup. Here's another refreshing spring water, so again, we're going to make sure we do this in the right order. Basically, we get that for free this turn, and then spring water. Ignite, and another Incanter's Flow. Ignite hits for 5. I feel like I need to remove the 8/5. Do I? That's 14 face. Definitely we're playing the flow. Flurry's gonna freeze 3. 6 cards left in the deck, 2 cram sessions. We have to hit cram session. Yep, I'm gonna use the ignite here. I'm gonna try to buy as much time as possible just in case we
So much time.
it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna hold on to the 2 mana fireball just in case we blank out on our draws. I'm trying to buy as much time as possible. Just to hedge against poor RNG. The 2 mana isn't going to break us. We're floating mana every turn. We can't spend it. And we played 3 Incanter's Flows. So we're not really in a whole lot of danger here. So now we're man, this is a super weird spot. We're just not drawing what we need. That's 15.
Curious.
If I can hit 1 cram session, the game is going to be over. Problem is, if I can't hit a cram session, the problem is, if we miss on cram session, we're going to lose this game. Not even sure Ice Barrier's good enough at this point. Yeah, it's just too much damage. We hit Cram Session, we basically draw our deck. And we draw Ignite. Wow. Cram Session's so important. If we draw a Cram Session, we draw 4 cards. We play the Ignites. Unfortunate, but the draws just weren't there for us this game.
The day is yours.
Lady Presto!
That last game was just super unfortunate. Bottom decked both Cram Sessions.
You shall pay.
Unfortunately, it does happen like that sometimes. This could potentially be a bad matchup for us too. I'm assuming it's Elemental Shaman, most likely with Doomhammers. I'm not even sure we can afford to keep Incanter's Flow here, but we're going to keep it. And the reason that I say that is because you need cheap removal spells like Brain Freeze. We don't want to be taking damage from minions on the board. If he has Doomhammers, he's just going to have so much damage in his deck. Hoping for a lab partner here. Actually, Thalanos is going to be better than lab partner in this situation. Next turn we can go Thalanos Ignite. Complete part 1 of the quest. This will let us cycle. Doesn't let us kill Bolner though. That's really unfortunate. He can coin the Granite Forgeborn and get a So we can't afford to Incanter's Flow. We have to go Thalanos, Ignite, and we might have to actually ping to kill that next turn.
Curious.
Definitely don't want it to stay on the board. If we can help it. Bolner, one of the more recent techs into Elemental Shaman, and it's really strong. We draw the Ignite that we just shuffled into the deck. Could have used the 4 damage last turn.
Now let her end.
That's interesting. Still can't play an Incanter's Flow yet, though. There's no way we can afford to take 6. Just Ignite ping. Kind of hoping that he hasn't drawn Doomhammer yet. He has not played the Cage Match Custodian. It's also possible it's not the Doomhammer version. But again, if it is, we're likely in trouble. Do we need to remove this, or is it better to hold on to it? There's no way we use Flurry this turn. Just gonna remove it. If he does play Doomhammer, we don't want to leave any minions on the board, our side or his, so that way he has to spend extra mana for the Storm Strike. This is fine. Frost. Deep Freeze is really good insurance against the Doomhammer. If we can get the Deep Freeze out, then we're just not going to lose to Doomhammer. Definitely will play the Flow. Fireball will kill his 5/6. The question is the 1/2. Just going to go ahead and get rid of it. So things going pretty smoothly this game. We're efficiently advancing the quest. We've got Deep Freeze for insurance against the one thing that we're worried about.
You built this for me?
not going to be able to play a frost spell this turn. But we will next turn. Yep. Put the ping right here. 1 damage on the face doesn't matter. We're going to start working this down in case we have to remove it with a fire sale. There's an ice barrier. So we can play ice barrier and play the reward this turn. Still have the option to deep freeze, but this will let us remove the 2 biggest threats with first flame and second flame. And now again, we're just in a situation where we're going to have to hit some card draw. So we've done a good job mitigating the damage that we're taking. We've done a good job completing the quest. We're just totally dependent on card draw now. So we know that we've played the deck correctly. That's always great. And now we're just hoping that we're rewarded with drawing the correct cards. And again, if we don't, we're not going to get salty about it. It's just part of the game. Part of the nature of the game. Sometimes the draws aren't there. Alright, here's some card draw. There's a fire sale. We're definitely going to use the fire sale to clear the board, but we're going to continue to draw cards here. Even more card draw. This is great. This is great. Make sure we don't overdraw. We don't. And our opponent concedes. There was no way we were ever going to lose from this point. We had drawn so many cards now. We had everything we needed. They didn't necessarily know that, but just based on how many cards we had drawn, it was pretty much guaranteed. So Quest Mage, you can see, still really, really strong, really solid here. Old reliable. You know exactly what you're going to get. And the first game, we actually only lost that first game because we didn't hit our card draw. Still a really good deck. I know it gets a little bit of bad press. People say it's not the best deck to rank up with on the ladder, which is probably true. But because it's such an old and established deck, you know exactly what you're going to get. Don't be afraid to queue it up, take it out on the ladder. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you next time.